Before we begin, if you like what you hear on the Tan and J-Man Show, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and go ahead and click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We encourage you to interact with us and keep up to date with the Tan and J-Man Show on social media by liking our Facebook page and following us on Twitter and Instagram at Tan and J-Man Show. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show with your hosts Tanner Lee and Josh the J-Man Munt. What's going on, everybody? Episode 209 of the Tan and J-Man Show coming at you on the ISC Sports Network. If you're listening on whatever your favorite podcast platform is, but especially if it's Apple Podcasts, please give us a rating and review. That helps out a lot. If you want to give us a rating and review on Facebook, that'd be nice too. Wherever you want to do it, we appreciate it. What's going on, J-Man?
What up there, T-Dog?
Another day in the life. Might see our cameras a little different this week. Had battling through some more technical difficulties again this week, but we're making it through as best we can, and we're getting by, and everybody can see our pretty mugs this week instead of last week that they didn't have the honor of doing so. But before we get into the episode, we're both wearing, J-Man's got the Tan and J-Man Show hoodie. I got a long sleeve t-shirt. We got mugs up here. If you're thinking, where can I get some of this cool Tan and J-Man Show swag and support the Tan and J-Man Show podcast? Well, you can get it on teespring.com, but the easy link to get to it is go to our Facebook, our Instagram, or our Twitter, which you can, of course, like us on Facebook, and you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Tan and J-Man Show. And that link will have a link straight to our store. And the cool thing, through the whole month of November, since this is coming up on the 28th, will be our 4-year anniversary, 4-year birthday, I should say, of the Tan and J-Man Show. When you use the promo code 4 in all caps, capital FOUR, you will get 20% off select items. Most items, I should say, not select, most items for the whole month through November. So
we should bake me a cake.
I'm not baking you nothing. You don't want... Okay, I'll bake you a cake. You won't want to eat it. You might get sick. But, long story short, if you want to get some Tan and J-Man Show swag and support our podcast, look great doing so, go to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, click on the link in the bio, and then the first link there should be Tan and J-Man Show store, and should be all set. And use promo code 4, capital FOUR, when checking out. Get 20% off most items. But the Tan and J-Man Show this week, like it is every week, is sponsored by the Damn Landing. Whether you want an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, which they changed their pizza.
The J-Man had their pizza on Thursday night.
As did the Tan Man.
Had a nice little surprise there. Kind of a nostalgic trip. Their pizza is back to being what it was when it was the Pat's Landing. It's kind of, didn't it take you back?
Yeah. I
mean, high school?
It's more Pizza King style, like I call it, and people who are watching out of state, outside the state of Indiana, are probably like, what the heck are they talking about?
Yeah.
But
got to come to Rochester.
Kind of square-like pieces of pizza, little squares. St. Louis style, kind of, I guess you could call it.
A little bit, yeah.
Anyways, very good, so I recommend you go to the Damn Landing and get a pizza. You can also get great hand-breaded tenderloin, seafood.
Had one of those on Saturday.
Tenderloin?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
I know you're not a seafood guy, but they got great seafood. They also have a great selection of craft beers and handcrafted cocktails. It's the place to be. It's a bar and grill located on beautiful Lake Manitou, and they focus on freshness and quality. And, of course, they got the Damn Smoke available every weekend, which features barbecue and steaks. And you can wash it down with one of their 16 beers on tap, including a constant rotation of today's best microbrews and domestic flavors, or a handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients. Taking the fantastic views of Lake Manitou in their beer garden or outdoor bar area, which it's getting a little chilly, so you might, if the temperatures are like they were this past weekend, you could probably do that, but it's getting a little chillier, so that might not be an option for too long. But anyways, you can still take in the fantastic views of Lake Manitou from inside their restaurant. The Damn Landing is the place to be, located at 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester.
I may or may not have also had a buffalo chicken taco. From there.
Sounds like you had quite a bit.
Had quite the meal on Saturday.
Good
Thursday
stuff.
had some za, had some pretzel nugs. Those are delicious, and had some wings.
Good stuff, man.
The damn wings, delicious.
There's I don't know if I've ever had anything from the dam that I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to hear some Birdie Bogey.
Absolutely.
Muhammad Ibrahim from the University of Minnesota, running back.
Yes.
He is the first Big Ten player with 140 rush yards in 5 straight games since who?
Wow.
I'll give you a hint because this is a tough one. It happened in the 2000s decade.
Okay.
2000, 2010.
I have a very interesting guess, but it's a little off the cuff, so I'm afraid it's not right. But
I think it might be right if the way you say that, because this is kind of a guy not many people really remember, but he's a really good one.
I think I'm on the right track.
I think so too. Birdie Bogeys brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC. Fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com. Get your veggies.
You're gonna pull something in your throat or something one of these days. Every week it gets more painful.
Gonna have to have my trachea removed.
It gets more
Everything I'm saying, I'm gonna have to put something up. Get your veggies.
Oh, the fun we have on this show, people. We really appreciate you spending time with us every Monday, whether it's for the whole hour or just a segment or two, whatever it is. We appreciate you letting us come into your homes.
Lives.
Yep. Come to your lives. Spending some time with us. The On This Day segment, sporting events on this day on November 16th throughout the history of sports. On this day in 1907, the 12th Iron Bowl was played between Auburn and Alabama, ended in a tie, 6-6 in Birmingham.
There was nothing crazy happened like did back in 2013.
No kick six.
What was that guy's name? I don't remember.
I just saw the highlight 3 times over the weekend, too. Davis was his last name.
Michael Davis?
I don't even want to guess.
Steven Davis? Chris Davis? It was Chris Davis.
Was it Chris Davis?
I think so.
That's a pretty
I don't know.
Standard name.
I know.
It's the name of a lot of athletes. On this day, 1924, the Cleveland Bulldogs, formerly Canton, lost to the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets, ending a 31-game undefeated streak, NFL and Major League Football record. On this day, 1957, Celtic Bill Russell set an NBA record of 49 rebounds in a game as they beat Philadelphia by a score of 111-89.
It was a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's
pretty good.
On this day, 1957, the Oklahoma Sooner football team had an NCAA win streak of 47 games snap after losing to Notre Dame 7-0.
Of course, it was Notre Dame.
They always seem to be involved with streaks. They snapped UCLA's basketball streak of 88 games or whatever it was.
They're good streak busters.
Streak snappers.
There we go.
Whippersnappers. On this day in 1962, Wilt Chamberlain of the NBA's San Francisco Warriors scored 73 points against the New York Knicks.
He was also pretty good.
Wasn't his career high, though. Wasn't even close. 27 points short of his career high of 100.
Liked his women.
That he did. That he did. On this day in 1974, the Milwaukee Bucks lost their 11th straight NBA game, team record to this day. Thought that was going to be more eventful than it was.
How many in a row?
11. As I was reading, I thought it was going to be
team record.
Team, not NBA record. On this day in 1976, Rick Barry of the San Francisco Warriors ended the then longest NBA free throw streak of 60 consecutive made free throws.
Remember when he had a son play at Florida? I think it was his name Cannon? Or am I thinking of...
I remember Joe and Britt Barry, but then he had another one, but I don't remember his name.
I'm pretty sure his name was Cannon Barry. He played for Florida.
I know he played for Florida, but that first name doesn't sound right. But maybe
that was not his name, you idiot. Canyon Barry.
Canyon?
I was so dang close.
Canyon.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cannon.
On this day, 1980, Tampa Bay Buccaneer quarterback Doug Williams threw for 486 yards.
Dougie.
Quite a few yards there. On this day, 1984, Houston Rockets blocked 20 of the Denver Nuggets shots, tying NBA regulation game record for blocks. That's a lot of blocks.
Hakeem the Dream.
It's a lot of finger wags. On this day, 1986, the 36th 36th NASCAR Sprint Cup was decided as Dale Earnhardt Sr. won the Sprint Cup. On this day in 1988, Jose Canseco became the first unanimous AL MVP since Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. On this day in 1997, the 47th NASCAR Sprint Cup was decided as Jeff Gordon won the Cup.
Pittsburgh's own.
Yep. On this day in 2003, the 55th NASCAR Sprint Cup was decided. Matt Kenseth won. In 2008, the 60th NASCAR Sprint Cup was decided. Jimmy Johnson won that. Jimmy Johnson just retired 2 weeks ago. One of the best NASCAR drivers ever. And one more NASCAR. This is the most NASCAR we've ever had.
Kind of hate it.
On this day in 2014, Kevin Harvick, driving for Stewart Haas Racing, wins the Ford EcoBoost 400 at Homestead Miami Speedway in Florida to claim his first NASCAR Sprint Cup Series by 1 point from Purdue's own and South Bend, Indiana's own Ryan Newman. And that's going to do it for the On This Day segment, which is brought to you by Proforma Print House. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Print House has over 50 years combined experience of promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print promotional company today. Give them a call at 574-210-3815. Just got a bunch of more First Federal water bottles in from them today, about 400 of them. So,
Dude, give me one of them.
That was not, come open up a checking account and you can get one. But that was not fun holding up 400, about 11 different boxes of water bottles today at 3 at a time up the elevator.
I was going to say, did you use the elevator?
Yeah, I used the dolly in the elevator. There's no way. They were too big. I couldn't. Yeah, it would have took me a long time if I didn't. So, good workout.
11 separate trips up and down the stairs.
Out of shape. So, but give them a call for any of your promotional products. They do a great job. They're always very timely, very customer-oriented with their service, great pricing. So give them a call today. You won't be disappointed.
We had a mid-November Masters.
We did. The first one ever, hopefully the last one ever. But like all of the Masters members, chairmen, players, etc., were saying afterwards, it was just nice to have the Masters in this year. It's, back when this pandemic started in March, they weren't sure they were going to be able to have the Masters. Because the Augusta National closes for a good amount of time during the year. But they figured out a plan. I think we can have it in mid-November, and it worked out pretty nicely. No patrons were allowed this year. Members were allowed on the grounds, and wives of members and players' wives. No other family allowed on the grounds. Peyton Manning must be a member because he was there yesterday, unless he somehow had a little more access.
I was going to say, you said they close at a certain time of the year. You sure they wouldn't have just opened back up for the Masters to be played?
Well, what I'm saying is there's certain periods of time, like in the summer, the grass gets so burnt there, they couldn't have it in the summer because originally there was a plan in place for maybe August, and then that got shut down pretty fast.
Brutal in Georgia.
Yeah, so the weather was fantastic. They got through it. The course was definitely different. The grass was a little different with Bermuda grass instead of what they normally have. And the azaleas weren't out, but there was some nice fall-colored leaved trees there. It was a fun tournament. I mean, it was a good tournament. A lot of the big names made the cut. The winner was Dustin Johnson, who broke a Masters record for the lowest 4-day total round of 20 under par. No player had ever got to 20 under. Pretty remarkable. One of the guys who tied for second, Cameron Smith, first player in Masters history to have all 4 rounds be in the 60s. Pretty good. I mean, Cameron Smith and Sunjay M. Yeah, I couldn't think of his name. They both tied for second. They shot 15 under. Most years, that would have got it done. Just Dustin kind of went nuclear. Dustin he always has the distance, but he had the putter going. And once he gets in the zone, he's tough to beat. This is his second major. He won the U.S. Open 2 years ago. I mean, he's already a Hall of Famer. Which is interesting. My dad and I were having a conversation the other day, what it takes to be a member of the Golf Hall of Fame, and all you really got to do is win double-digit tournaments and then win one, if not two majors, and you're pretty much in.
That was his 25th win ever, and his second major, as he said. So
he's number one in the world for a reason. It was pretty cool. He's a pretty calm, cool, collected guy. Doesn't look like a lot bothers him, even though his team around him says he is a fiery guy inside. Well, after he won yesterday, got his green jacket, he got really emotional and could barely talk. And he was even getting mad at himself for getting so emotional. But he said this was a childhood dream of his. He grew up, I think, like 80 miles away from Augusta. So the guy's living the life. I mean, he's got two good-looking young kids with a beautiful girlfriend and Paulina Gretzky. I mean, Wayne Gretzky's her dad, of course. So it's a pretty cool future father-in-law he's going to have there. And he's just a good guy. I was happy for him that he won. Tiger Woods made the cut. Kind of made headlines yesterday. He took his career high on a hole of a 10. He took a 10 on a par 3. But then he bounced back and birdied 5 of his last 6 holes. So that was pretty impressive. Still to shoot 76, which, in all things considered, with a 10, that's pretty good.
When you shoot a 10, what do you usually end up at?
I can proudly say, because I tracked all my rounds at Mill Creek this year, where I play my home course, I did not take a 10. I had a couple 9s this year, but I did not have to. I think I had a 10 one time last year. But, usually when I get a 9, it's going to be a bad day. So kudos to him. Phil Mickelson made the cut, but he was in contention till Saturday, and he had bad rounds on Saturday, Sunday. My favorite, Ricky Fowler, made the cut, but was never really in contention. Rory McIlroy, who Josh always picks with his book of prediction of the week, kind of blew it on Thursday, but he fought back and had another backdoor top 10, which that's just Rory's special at Augusta. Maybe come April, maybe it'll be his time. Justin Thomas was a favorite by many. He was right there on the weekend, but didn't have enough in the tank to get it done. Bryson DeChambeau, who I picked, made the weekend, but his driver kind of got off balance a little bit and really hurt him in the long run. But overall, good tournament. Glad they had it. It was definitely weird to watch without the patrons. It wasn't the same. You didn't get the roars of the crowd, especially on the back nine on Sunday, which is where the tournament gets really exciting. But the cool thing without the patrons was you got to see the whole layout of the course a lot better. You got to see the hills, the slopes, elevations, and just a lot of shot shapes that you really saw what the difficulty of those shots were to pull off, which you wouldn't see in a normal broadcast. But good news, golf fans, we're less than 5 months away from another Masters come August. Or come April. Excuse me.
J-Man's Book of Prediction of the Week, sponsored Travis Watchring. Sent in a few Masters trivia question.
I'm ready.
You to answer. The first Masters was in 1934. Any guess on the price of a single ticket?
$2.
So close. $2.20. Who was the youngest player ever to win the Masters?
Youngest player ever to win the Masters, Tiger Woods.
Yes, Tiger Woods.
97.
And Tiger Woods' 10 was the first double-digit score he's ever taken in a professional golf tournament. What was his previous highest?
In just a golf tournament itself, I know his previous high on a par 3, at least in a major, was a 6. I'm going to say he took an 8 somewhere.
9.
Well,
so close.
Well, I should have known. He plays so many rounds of golf. The tour.
Yes, one more that I accidentally skipped over. Dustin Johnson was the first number 1 player in the world to win the Masters since who?
Gotta think about this. I'm sure Tiger's done it, but I'm guessing somebody's done it since him. Going back in my head with all the Masters winners. He's been number 1 in the world, but he's never won the Masters. Phil's never been ranked number 1 in the world. Man. Because Tiger won at 05, but I think he was number 1 then. Trevor Immelman, Zach Johnson, Adam Scott, Bubba Watson. But what was Bubba number 1 in the world? I'm going to go Tiger.
Tiger Woods. Can you guess the year?
05.
2002.
Oh, okay. It wasn't ranked in 05. Okay.
Thanks, Trap.
Yeah, because that was a tough one because I was thinking Vijay Singh, Tiger Woods. I knew Phil had never been ranked number 1. Bubba. I was think of all the winners. That's good questions. Thank you, Travis, for providing those. But now golf season's pretty much done. I mean, you got to have some tournaments here in January. Start up the new season's already started, but the Tournaments will start heavy, and hopefully come April, hopefully we have a more normal Masters and the patrons can be back. And but it was still nice to hear that classic tune of the Masters with the piano and Nance saying hello, friends, and everything. And Nance does a good job. That guy, he's a pro.
I'm still mad Tony Romo got the week off.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by that.
Making $17 million a year.
I mean, I guess they just don't think they have another guy that can, of Nance's caliber, that can be the lead guy next to him. That'd be my only.
Nance isn't even good at football. I mean, college basketball, Nance over NFL Nance.
I think he's good at everything he does. I think he's the pro's pro at
I will say I like him a lot more with Romo than I did with Sims.
Yeah, Sims
did not like Phil Sims.
Sims was the worst, but surprised he hasn't popped up on anybody's TV really.
He does
for
the
broadcasting. He does
CBS pregame.
Does and does still. I bet he still does the Showtime show.
I'm
too,
sure he does.
Inside the NFL.
Inside the NFL.
But yep, Masters is come and gone, and congratulations to Dustin Johnson, and we'll see if he can't go try to get
former Chanticleer, right?
Yep, Coastal Carolina, and we'll see if he can't go get a Open Championship next year or a PGA Championship to add to his trophy case
resume. Mm-hmm. Football was also played this weekend, if you didn't know.
Oh, I know.
I knew.
Mm-hmm. I watched quite a bit of it.
Want to start with some college football talk?
Absolutely.
I didn't watch a whole lot.
No?
I watched a little,
yep.
but not the whole lot. I don't even know I don't even remember a single game I actually watched.
I watched the Big Ten games in Notre Dame. Those are pretty much the only ones I ever watched on the weekend. But if you wanted to watch SEC, there wasn't too many to pick from last week because of all the cancellations or postponements.
And with the Masters on CBS, we didn't get an SEC CBS game.
Mm-hmm.
So, any Big Ten headlines? I know Indiana
cleaned.
They're a good ball club.
Clock 24-0. I think they're finally going to get their biggest test of the year this weekend. Rocky Lombardi's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen in the Big Ten. And I'm embarrassed to say that. He beat Purdue 2 years ago.
Jeff George Jr.
Yeah, he's up there too. I mean, I've watched enough Big Ten football. There's been a lot of them, but they finally pulled him.
It's sad that he has such a good football name and he's just a bad football player.
That was kind of the story around the Big Ten was the polling of quarterbacks this weekend. Not only Sean Clifford polled in the first half of Penn State game.
I didn't see that.
Of course, Nebraska started McCaffrey instead of Martinez, which was a good decision by Scott Frost. Yeah, I'm actually giving Scott Frost kudos. You're welcome, Ryan Osman.
Martinez is bad.
He hasn't got better.
He's not a good quarterback.
I don't see them changing. I think he's kind of done there. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the transfer portal after the year. But that was kind of the big news of the day around the Big Ten was the backup quarterbacks coming in, and we'll see how many more of them keep going. But like you said, Indiana started off the day with a 24-0 win. They moved up to number 9 in the polls. They're 4-0 now. This game this weekend against Ohio State it's pretty much is for the East. I would say I was going to say just a driver's seat, but the winner of this game's got to win the East.
Penn State not in the picture. Michigan not in the picture.
The worst team in the Big Ten right now.
Nah, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, record-wise.
Record-wise, sure.
That's all I can base off right now, really.
I guess
because it's so topsy-turvy.
Speaking of bad teams, I read Illinois started their 4th different quarterback in their 4 games.
He looked good. Running the ball, he looked good. Adds a different dynamic. That was a pretty good football game, though. I mean, between two
bad
teams, but it was a competitive game. Illinois got their first win.
Rutgers is still Rutgers.
Yeah, they fight and claw, but they're still Rutgers. Nebraska beat Penn State. Nebraska might be better than we've been giving them credit for.
I think they're a decent ball club.
They got some talent. And they've only played 3 games. They got shellacked by Ohio State, but they played them tough for half, and then they lost a competitive game against Northwestern. That's what Northwestern does. They win single-possession games. That's the Fitzgerald culture. What their afternoon game was there? Well, Maryland, Ohio State didn't play due to COVID.
Wisconsin shellacked Michigan.
Well, we forgot about the Friday night game. Iowa smoked Minnesota.
Kirk Ferentz taking 3 timeouts late when they were up big. You can tell he does not like PJ's shtick.
I don't think too many opposing Big Ten coaches do.
Me either.
And I was saying this to our friend group off the air, of course, the other day. We're getting to that time of year of the Big Ten because we have 4 regular season games left and then 1 championship week. If we can get to all those, I mean, there's no guarantee we're even going to get there. But across the college football landscape, I think we're seeing this. Now, more than ever, it's a challenge for these coaches to get their players up.
Mm-hmm. Especially the guys that or teams that are 0-4, like a Penn State,
who was ranked 8th 4 weeks ago.
Or
now they're
Michigan, that's 1-3.
I mean, yeah, they can play in a bowl because anybody can play in a bowl this year, but it's still not going to be a very good bowl. And you're out of it for your division. It's just like, unless you really love to play football, these kids got a lot going on with COVID going on, classes they still got to do. Just a lot of distractions, and it's probably tougher than ever now to get your guys up. That's why I'm thinking Minnesota at 1-3. I still think they're talented, but can PJ keep that group together?
I mean, I could see PJ's players love playing for him when they're 9-3, but when they're 1-3,
you don't want to.
I think his shtick would get real old with the players too.
Yeah, wonder what book he's got to read to him this week.
Yeah,
but their defense just is bad. And Tanner Morgan's struggling this year. He should be the number 2 quarterback in the Big Ten, and he's just not playing very well right now.
They lost a lot from last year's team.
They did.
But still.
They still got one of the best wide receivers on their team and one of the best running backs. Probably the best running back in the conference. So they still got talent. But Iowa, it was close. It was 14-0 for a while. Then all of a sudden it was 35-7 pretty fast. Iowa's starting to hit their stride a little bit. Even though they're 2-2, I thought they've looked really good the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Even Northwestern, they probably should have won that game.
They probably should have beat Purdue as well. They were up for a majority of it.
Until the fourth quarter, let it slip. And then Purdue Northwestern was Purdue dug themselves in a 14-point hole, and Northwestern's a tough team to come back against when you do that. Northwestern, I think they're the best defensive team in the conference.
Besides Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's right there, which they play each other this weekend. That will be the battle for the West.
Peyton Ramsey has completely changed that offense. Yep. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Especially a good Big Ten quarterback. I mean, he's played a bunch of Big Ten football, so he's really taken them to a next level because they were bad last year.
Yep, they were. Hunter Johnson wasn't good last year. Green got hurt, which I saw Green on their sideline, so they have all those guys back, all 3 quarterbacks. I thought Pat Fitzgerald, which he's always done against Purdue, he outcoached Purdue. That's what he does. And Northwestern's all of a sudden a thorn in Purdue's side, especially at home. Purdue hasn't beat him at home since 2007. They get him at Evanston once in a while, but they just can't beat him at home. And it was just a little disappointing. Stakes-wise, this was probably Purdue's biggest game since 2007 when they hosted an undefeated Ohio State team when they were undefeated and they got beat 24-7, and they just came out flat. It was disappointing. I thought the defense played pretty well for Purdue. They hung in there, definitely gave their team opportunities. Offense just couldn't get it done. And it sure would be nice if number 4 would come back, but we'll see what happens there. I don't know. It's a week-to-week situation. He's practiced the last 2 weeks, so I don't really know.
I don't know what's going on there.
It's kind of been reported on the rival site that it's his hamstring, and he hurt it in preseason practice. And it's up to him when he was ready to play. Braum said, I'm not going to play him unless he's ready to play. And he just keeps saying he's not ready, even though he's practicing the last 2 weeks. So
then why do you opt back in? At this point, he's a distraction.
I know. That's what was concerned me when I heard he's been practicing. He's taking reps away from other guys who could use them.
100%.
And you just hope it doesn't become a distraction for the team, because I got to think he still wants to play or he wouldn't be there. He wouldn't be, because he was on the sidelines there with his mask. You got to think he wouldn't have opted back in because he doesn't have to be on campus to take his online classes. So he obviously wants to play, but it's like it's up here all of a sudden. And if he doesn't play, that's going to be the first question of the NFL teams. Why didn't you play? Which I still think he'll rip up the combine. He'll be fine, but
yeah, I don't think NFL teams would really care.
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange. It's a weird situation. It's frustrating from a fan standpoint because they could have used him the other night because David Bell can't do it all even though he tries. But
he's pretty good.
But disappointing loss, but Purdue still got winnable games ahead of them. Minnesota, Rutgers, and Nebraska are their next 3, so they can still have a pretty good season, but probably kiss the West goodbye unless Wisconsin somehow loses a game or can't play in another game, and Northwestern loses 2 games. So, and then the night game, like you said, Wisconsin just kicked the tar out of Michigan. Michigan team's not good. They're just Joe Milton's hasn't been good since week 1.
They're going to switch quarterbacks.
Are they?
They said they're going to have a competition this week, and it's clear the other guy sparked them late.
Yeah.
I mean, game was over, but he at least played a lot better than Milton did.
I wonder if McCaffrey is upset he left there.
Where'd he end up going?
I don't know.
What was his first name?
Dylan, or is that Nebraska's?
There's a Luke. There's a Dylan.
Luke.
Dylan McCaffrey was the Michigan
and Luke's
guy.
at Nebraska. Yeah. What an athletic family.
He just opted out and will seek to transfer. He hasn't
Yep.
said anywhere.
So, but man, another thing I want to bring up before we get into picking games and talking about some other college football is the coaching carousel. It's kind of up in the air how much of a coaching carousel we're going to have because it's such a unforeseen year, unique circumstances financially for a lot of athletic departments. But it kind of started yesterday with South Carolina letting go Will Muschamp, $15 million buyout. And they
must have had
raised it and got it. Yeah.
The boosters must
Sure.
have given them a bunch of money.
That's what I'm thinking with Michigan. If they want to cut ties, because that's a big buyout, but they got the boosters to probably do it. But do they do it? Maybe Harbaugh leaves on his own and goes to the NFL, which I don't know why the NFL would be too interested in him.
Either. He hasn't coached the NFL in how long? 7 years?
Yeah. He did well, but yeah. Say they do cut ties with him. What are some names you think could be a good fit at Michigan?
I wish you would have asked me this like yesterday so I could have had a list in my head.
I like throwing it at you. I got a few names in my head.
I don't know.
I think Matt Campbell's call number one.
That's a good
from
one.
Iowa State. Luke Fickell would be a good call.
Yeah, Fickell.
It'd be interesting to see if he. Oh, that's a prestigious, or at least branding. It's a prestigious job but he's so close to the Ohio State stuff. That'd be. I don't know. He turned down Michigan State, but Michigan State's not Michigan.
Yeah.
Even though Michigan State was going to pay him a lot of money, still not Michigan money. Those are the two that kind of pop out to my head right away. I saw one guy brought up PJ Fleck because of his recruiting ties to Michigan, but I thought he burned a lot of bridges with high school coaches when he was at Western Michigan from the things I was reading.
He burns bridges everywhere.
So,
his recruiting style, either you love him or you absolutely despise him.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll worry about that when time comes, but got to think Harbaugh and Lovey, seats are a little hot, and I wouldn't.
Lovey's gone. They're not winning. They're not winning another game.
They'll cut the cord with him.
They need to.
And a guy's seats that's not hot, but maybe it's getting a little warm right now is James Franklin. Maybe. I don't know.
It's a weird year. 1 year. He's been so good there.
But his name always comes up for
other jobs,
leaving.
USC, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd fire him, though.
Yeah.
Maybe hire Bill O'Brien back.
He was going to turn them into something.
I think Franklin's already taken them higher than he could have possibly taken him. Yeah.
I don't know. Man, he was doing well with the circumstances he was given.
Sure, but we saw how well that went in Houston. It's a little different, but
yeah, very much different. But
still,
I mean, that happens to every Belichick assistant that leaves usually,
except one,
except for Abel so far.
Flores
and Flores, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, so the two defensive ones, not the offensive minds. Except Patricia's not doing so hot, even though they won yesterday.
Romeo Crennel was a disaster.
Yeah, McDaniels on offense wasn't good.
Charlie Weiss was bad at Notre Dame.
So, but Notre Dame, speaking of Notre Dame, they got it done this weekend against Boston College. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a trouble game, maybe coming off a huge emotional high and coming down, but they just took care of business. But they put up over 40 points. I mean, their offense was good.
I did see ESPN's FPI came out to win the national championship, and they had Notre Dame 5th, below Wisconsin even.
Well, Wisconsin's all they got to do is run the table. They go 6-0. They get into the Big Ten championship. If you beat Ohio State or Indiana, then you go to the playoff. So, but if they miss one more game, they're out. I mean, it doesn't matter what they do from then on. That's a crazy thing.
Is that what has been said?
You have to play a minimum of 6 games to make the Big Ten championship, and they are right if they play out 6.
The Big Ten didn't help themselves because they didn't have any room for air.
Sure. Well, we could be having a whole nother discussion. Big Ten should have started in late September.
Or even early October.
Yeah, they shouldn't have waited when
2 or 3 weeks earlier, give you
they knew
some
it was
leeway.
Be pretty much impossible. I mean, the Maryland-Michigan State game, good likelihood it's not going to happen this week.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these teams that get COVID cases, it takes them 2 weeks to get it under control.
Right.
So somehow Illinois is only Well, theirs was more contact tracing, but still that takes players out. But they were able to play through it, but that still takes a lot of players out.
Why always point at me?
Because I just used to you being an Illinois fan for years.
Basketball for years. It was like 5 years.
It goes back to the Rose Bowl season.
2008 to about 2005, 7 years. 2015 was kind of when
You jumped on last year for a little bit when they beat Michigan State.
I watched them beat Michigan State. I'm like, yeah.
I'll have to dig up that audio one of these days. I'm sure we got it.
I was back on the bandwagon for a week, and then it was off, and now it's so far gone now.
But I want to go ahead and pick some games.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Starting Friday night, we have the Purdue Boilermakers at the Minnesota Gophers.
Well, fun fact, Purdue has not won outside of Minnesota since 1972 because they played inside for years, and then they haven't beat them up there in this stadium at all. So dating back to 2007, and Minnesota's beat them 7 out of the last 8 meetings.
I remember 2 years ago when they played there, it was snowing.
Yeah, that was the worst.
Yeah, that
point margin of the Brom era.
Yeah, it was a whooping.
And last year was Sindelar and Moore getting hurt on the same play. It's Minnesota. But I'm going to go Purdue. But I haven't ranked the games in my head. I'll put 3 points on it. I'm just throwing it out there. I haven't even looked at the ranking. I need to look this up.
I also have 3 points on it, but I'm taking the Gophers. 41.
It doesn't surprise me. You pick against Purdue every week.
44-38. I think it'll be a shootout.
Yeah, Purdue should be able to put up points on that defense.
Should be able to. Yes.
Should be able to run the ball, but they're going to have to try to run the ball. You can't just go away from the run.
Brom has a very quick hook on the run game.
He admitted today that was a mistake he made the other night.
Well, he does it every single time. Why change it now?
Well, the first 2 weeks, Xander Horvath's second leading rusher in the Big Ten, and then he just went away from it.
He caught the ball a bunch.
Yeah, he received it for over 100 yards, which is kind of like a run in a way, flat pass, but swing pass. But
yeah, Minnesota's defense is bad.
Yeah, hopefully Purdue gets George Karlaftis back too, because they
didn't play.
No, they had no. So they were. Yeah, he's their only pass rusher, except finally in the fourth quarter, Lorenzo Neal, when he got going, they couldn't stop him. He was stopping the run and gave him a chance. But I like what Bob Diaco's doing. But then on Saturday, Michigan State and Maryland.
That one isn't going to play.
Most likely, probably not going to happen.
So I have Maryland for 1.
I do too. I was going to go Maryland for 7.
I had Maryland for 5 until you told me that.
Biggest game in Indiana football, at least since the 60s. Number 9, Indiana, at number 3, Ohio State. Guess the spread on this one.
Ohio State 17.5.
Ohio State 20.
I use a very, very, very good football team. Not at Ohio State's level, so I'm taking Ohio State for 7.
Yeah, Indiana's a lot more talented than they've been past years.
Tom Allen's a heck of a football coach, too.
I'm not saying he's not.
I didn't say he said he's not. You're getting real defensive over here.
You're throwing jabs at me already with the Indiana crap.
When have I thrown any jabs at you with the Indiana crap?
I
just said
over here.
Thomas Allen.
Very, very, very good.
Tom Allen's they are a good football team. They're ranked top 10 in the country.
Have you seen who they've played?
They beat Michigan. They beat Penn State. I don't care what
the
they're at
record of
now.
Their teams are awful. I mean, but finally they have Ohio State and Wisconsin coming up. But I think Indiana keeps it close within 20 points. But I got Ohio State.
I only got Ohio State by 31.
I have no idea coming off an off week there for Ohio State. Which
IU is a really good football team. Tom Allen's a very good football coach.
And they'll still lose at least 2 games. At least.
Just can't say anything nice about them.
I just still not a huge. I mean, they're having a great year. 4-0, number 9. I never thought in my lifetime I'd see Indiana football ranked at the top 10. But I'm still not a huge believer in them yet. Beat Ohio State, my God, then I can't say anything bad about them. Even beat Wisconsin. So, Illinois at Nebraska. I got to put points on that. I'll take Ohio State for 7. I don't know.
Nebraska for 5.
I'm going to go Nebraska for 6. They're 16-point favorites. I thought they looked a lot better with McCaffrey under center. Iowa at Penn State.
As we've said, it might be tough for Penn State to get up for any games now. However, I'm taking Penn State for 2. I don't know why. I feel like Penn State's going to win. I just think it's going to happen.
I was going to go that direction, but I'm going to switch it. I'll go Iowa for 1. Nope, I already did one. Iowa for 2. That's why I'm writing it down. I can't remember. I did not prepare for this segment at all. I'm going to do Iowa for 2 just to switch it up a little bit.
Wisconsin at Northwestern.
Yeah, the Big Ten game of the week. Oh, well, we got number 9 against number 3, I guess. But this game's going to be for the West. Oh, man, I think this is going to be a really good game. But I got Wisconsin in a close one. I got 4 points on it.
I have Wisconsin for 4 as well. I think they win by double digits. I just think they're head and shoulders above any team in the West. And that defense is great.
Northwestern probably the best defense they've played.
Probably.
Will play. Yeah. Will play.
I would say.
Northwestern's defense is good.
Graham Mertz, he's hadn't heard of him until like 4 weeks ago, and now he's playing really well. And I don't know if Jack Cohn gets a starting spot back at this point.
That'll be an interesting situation.
Of course, they've only played 2 games.
Yeah.
But.
Michigan at Rutgers.
Rutgers is Rutgers. Michigan's bad, I know. They haven't played good, but give me Michigan for 6.
Yeah, I got Michigan for 5. If they don't win this one, then they might not win another game.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, at that point, what do you have to play for?
And I can't imagine Harbaugh's back if they lose to.
I mean, their remaining schedule, they got Penn
Rutgers.
State next week, then Maryland, then Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't beat Rutgers. And I think Michigan's only a touchdown favorite in that game.
Really?
I think so. I don't have the line on my phone, but I thought I heard that on a college football podcast today, which the podcast I was listening to today, I thought it was interesting. They said Northwestern got the best defense in the country. Not the Big Ten, the country. That's why I was like, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty high praise for those guys. Heck of a turnaround from last year, though. But like you said, they're healthy this year. And Ramsey's made a difference. A few top 25 games. Number 6, Florida at Vanderbilt.
Florida's huge.
A 31-point favorite.
Vandy's the worst team maybe in the Power 5.
Yeah, they're 0-6. Their head coach is going to get fired.
Mm-hmm. Surprised he wasn't fired last year.
Kyle Trask threw a ton of touchdowns the other night against Arkansas. He's got to continue his reign.
He'll throw at least 4 in the first half.
I don't have a spread on this one. Got to think it's high. Number 4, Clemson at 2-6, Florida State.
Clemson by 38.
Yeah, Mike Norvell's there. The start of the Norvell era is not going good.
Should just stuck it out for one more year with Taggart if it was going to be like this anyway.
Yeah, they can't have a quick hook with him. They got to give him some time. Clemson huge. Interesting one here. 6-1 Appalachian State at 7-0. Number 15 Coastal Carolina.
You know my thoughts on.
This is actually a good matchup though.
Give me App State. Coastal loses their first one.
I'll go with Coastal just because I know you don't like picking Coastal games.
I don't like picking Coastal games. Don't like picking Liberty games. Don't like picking Louisiana Lafayette games.
I'll skip the Marshall and Louisiana Lafayette game.
I don't mind picking Marshall.
And I'll skip the BYU because they play North Alabama. Come on, you're number 8 in the nation. Number 22 Texas at Kansas. Texas 29.5-point favorite.
Kansas covers but loses by 28.
I like Texas covers that thing. Kansas is so bad. Number 7 Cincinnati at number 5-2 Central Florida.
Trap game. Give me the Bearcats.
Yeah, they looked impressive the other night against East Carolina on a Friday night. They got to keep looking impressive if they want to try sneaking into the playoff. I got Cincinnati as well. Kentucky at number 1 Alabama. Alabama's 30-point favorite.
Mac Jones is the leader in the clubhouse for the Heisman Award at this point. So give me Alabama, pretty large. I did see Kentucky's offensive line coach died Thursday from cancer, and they left one of their offensive linemen off the field to start the game. Yep. That was pretty cool.
It was. Kansas State at number 17 Iowa State. Iowa State's 11-point favorites.
Iowa State in a very close one.
That's going to be a good game. I agree with you. Tennessee at number 23 Auburn. Auburn's 10-point favorite.
Auburn in a close one.
I'll take Auburn by about 13. Number 21 Liberty because they're underdogs on the road at NC State. NC State's 3.5-point favorite.
They were a big underdog at Virginia Tech and won.
They were underdogs somewhere else, I think, this year too and won.
Syracuse maybe?
Yeah, because they're 8-0.
Give me the Flames.
I'll go the Wolfpack. I think they finally somebody puts the freeze on the Flames. Number 14 Oklahoma State at number 18 Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a 7-point favorite.
Give me Oklahoma.
I agree. I think the home team wins there. Close one. Number 20 USC is 3-point favorites on the road against Utah. USC's finding ways to skate by.
Give me the Utes.
I'll take USC, another close one. And then SEC game postponed. Your Canes are postponed. UCLA at number 11, Oregon. Oregon's 15-point favorite.
Give me Oregon.
Oregon smashes their former coach easily. And Notre Dame's on a bye week for the Irish fans. They're at Chapel Hill next week. NFL football.
Yes.
Another jam-packed, action-packed weekend.
It was a good weekend, too.
It was a good
football.
weekend. Well, unless you're a Denver Bronco fan, they just think.
3 winners, 3 losers.
One of my winners got to be New England Patriots. I don't like them, but that was impressive what they did to the Baltimore Ravens. My Super Bowl pick in the Baltimore Ravens before the season started. That was a torrential downpour of a game last night, but Baltimore couldn't stop the run. When's the last time Baltimore couldn't stop the run?
Yeah, they played bad. On the flip side, the Baltimore Ravens are one of my losers. I know it's still New England, but that's not a very good football team.
No.
There in Boston. You got to go in there and win. Their offense has looked porous for a few weeks now.
They finally snapped their streak, didn't they? Or did they score over 20 last night?
Who?
Baltimore.
They scored 17.
Yeah, because last week they had a 31 consecutive game of scoring 20 or more points.
Yeah, 23-17 was final. Lamar Jackson has not played as well as he did last year. He's not even in MVP talks at all at this point. So that was a really, really bad loss for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, another winner for me, Arizona Cardinals. I'm embarrassed by our preseason prediction machine. I had them winning 2 games. And what a play by Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. And that's why everybody said that's why you trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Team's pretty good. They're exciting to watch.
Football team.
And I like the Bills, too. They're exciting to watch. That was
the Bills.
That was a good little football game. And the Cardinals helped your Dolphins out big time. Impressive win by the Cardinals.
Yeah, Cardinals were also one of my winners. Kyler Murray's going to win an MVP eventually. Didn't know how a 5'9" quarterback would play, but he's a superstar, man.
Got the it factor.
Gets it done on the ground, can throw really well, as a quarterback should be able to. Not there in Baltimore, though, or New England for that matter. But they're one of my winners. Indianapolis Colts, Thursday night, huge division win.
Smacked them.
They're now leading the AFC South.
Yeah, it's theirs to lose.
Great defense. Naheem Hines had a great game on the ground. As long as Phillip doesn't turn it over, they're a pretty good football team.
Still, it's just weird, though, because I think they're definitely a playoff team, but I still can't take them seriously to win the AFC. I don't know why.
I don't really take anyone seriously besides the Kansas City Chiefs, to be honest.
I think Steelers are pretty good. They got a good defense.
I think they're good, but I don't know if they can beat Kansas City.
Yeah.
Some team's just going to have to.
Raiders, they know how to beat them somehow.
Raiders are a good football team.
I know. They're actually a team nobody's talking about.
They're legit.
Because they're boring, but they find ways to get it done. They don't, and Carr doesn't turn the ball over. 2 picks this year.
Josh Jacobs had a great game on the ground yesterday.
Yep.
Los Angeles Rams were another one of my winners, beating the Seattle Seahawks. It's a huge win. They lose that, they would have been 5-4. Now they're 6-3, tied with I think the Cardinals and Seahawks atop the division there. That's the best division in football, in my opinion.
Second straight week in the winner category for me, the New York Football Giants. Mm-hmm. That was actually my one pick I was proud of.
That was pretty impressive there, T-Dog.
Philly's done, dude. They're done. I'm tired of waiting on them. We keep saying they're going to get guys back. Well, they're getting guys back. It's not helping.
Yeah, they had a bye week to figure this out, too. Carson Wentz is a bad quarterback. One of my losers is the NFC East for 5th time out of the last 6
just put it on a record.
weeks. And all I wrote about them, they all suck.
Yeah.
Giants are 3-7, and I would say they have the best odds to win that division.
Yeah, a few weeks ago I said a Washington football team, but they're not.
They're bad.
Even though it was cool to see Alex Smith starting the game again, and they almost got it done yesterday.
Ron Rivera said today that he looked like the same Alex Smith and could be their quarterback of the future.
But I just remembered I gave 3 winners. I did not give any losers yet.
Huh. It was tough to find a loser this week.
Yeah, it was.
There weren't too many teams.
It was. I mean, of course, you could go with the ones you've already said.
You could go with the Saints for losing Drew Brees for an extended period of time.
Yeah, cracked ribs on both sides, punctured lung on his right side. Just hope he can come back at least and not end his career that way. That'd be awful because I think this is definitely his last year. And the team should make the playoffs. We'll see how Jameis can do with them. But I'm going to give the Titans as a loss. Mm-hmm. You gave the Colts a win. I thought I had 10 confidence points on the Titans. I thought they were going to get it done and got punched in the mouth. Yeah. They played Vrabel ball right back at them. And the Titans' special teams was atrocious the other night. Other losers. Trying to think of some other games. Seahawks. loser. I can't figure this team out. They just can't play defense. Russell's MVP talk's really cooled off all of a sudden.
He's turned it over quite a few times the past few weeks.
And the teams are starting to figure out DK Metcalf a little bit, it seems like.
He did have to go against Jalen Ramsey yesterday.
It's never an easy task. And then another loser. There's so many teams I could pick from. How about Jacksonville? Just because of Jacksonville. And
they almost won that game.
I was looking, though. They have by far the most cap space in the league for next year, and they got tons of picks, so they're going to continue their rebuilding stage since their franchise has really began.
They can take a pick, or they can take their pick between Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields.
Jets.
I said they can take their pick, though, because they'll be picking second. I mean, whichever one the Jets pick, they'll be happy that
I thought you meant they had to pick between the two, and I was like, they can get the remaining. Yeah.
Say they'll be happy with either.
Sure,
is what I was saying.
Okay. I got you.
For the fourth week in a row, the belt belongs to the J-Man.
Yeah.
Fourth week in a row.
I want to throw up.
I'm so good at this. We have about 9 minutes left, so let's
I'm trying to pull up
here.
my app here. It is not wanting to work for me.
For the 10th straight week, Tanner's app does not want to work for him when it needs to work.
I got it.
Starting with the Thursday night great matchup here in Seattle, we have the Arizona Cardinals heading to one of my favorite cities in the United States of America, Seattle, to play the Seahawks.
Tough game. Coin flip game, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think the Seahawks bounce back. I got them for 1 point.
I have the Arizona Cardinals for 3. To be honest, I flipped that after they won yesterday for some reason. I don't know why that is. But right because I had the Seahawks for 3, and as soon as DeAndre Hopkins caught that, erased. Second game, we have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Cleveland Brownies.
Browns are 6-3 somehow. I don't think they're that great, but I think they're better than Philadelphia, and I'm riding high with Baker. Silent G like lasagna, as he described Myles Garrett. I'm going Browns for 10.
I keep ripping on the Philadelphia Eagles.
You keep picking them.
And I keep picking them.
Because it gives you a reason to rip on them every week when they lose.
Eagles, 1 point.
Right.
I don't know why. I'm not a believer in this Cleveland Browns team, and for some reason I just have this gut feeling that the Eagles are going to turn it around this week and then lose out.
This matchup became more intriguing today. Atlanta Falcons at New Orleans Saints now. Jameis Winston led New Orleans Saints.
I did not change my confidence points on this one, so this will be interesting. I have the New Orleans Saints for 11.
Got the Saints for 6, so a little lower, but I thought about switching it to Atlanta, but just going with my first instinct. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Washington football team.
Washington football team about came back, as he said. Bengals predictably did not play well against that great pass rush, but I think the Bengals are a better football team, so give me the Bengals for 8.
I don't know why I did this, but I did this. I took the football team for 7. No idea why.
I kind of, as I was speaking out loud, I'm like, I was thinking the football team might win.
And I'm in the opposite. I almost want to punch my button and switch it to the Bengals, but we haven't been agreeing lately, which is good for the pick 'em. It's been bad for me.
Great for me. Detroit Lions head to Charlotte to play the Carolina Panthers.
The Cat's going to win this game. Give me the Lions for 8.
I have the Panthers for 7. We're different this week. Panthers,
we're going to know early who's going to win.
Panthers played pretty well until about midway through the third quarter.
Did Teddy hurt himself? I saw him limping off the field late.
I mean,
it must not have been anything huge.
He's always limping for some reason.
Well, his knee fell off his leg in Minnesota.
Pittsburgh at Jacksonville first.
Pittsburgh for 13.
I have Pittsburgh for 14. Jacksonville, second worst team in the NFL.
Yes, they've gave up.
Tennessee at Baltimore.
Another tough one to predict, especially the way both teams look this week. But give me Titans for 2.
I stuck with my Baltimore pick because I forgot to change it, so I'm sticking with them for 6. New England at Houston.
Another tough one. But
another one that I stuck with my original pick because I forgot to change it.
New England got the win last night, so I'm taking them for 5.
I am switching that as we speak to New England for 4.
Miami at Denver.
Drew Lock might not play, which in my opinion is a good thing for Denver because I'm a known
matter at this point.
Drew Lock
It doesn't matter. This
Hater.
team might not win another game.
Dolphins are playing great special teams, great defense. Tua's making enough plays. I think Denver will be able to run the ball on them.
No, they won't because they don't run.
They should run because
They gave
both
Phil
guys
Lindsay
are having good.
4 carries yesterday.
He's averaging 5 yards a carry.
He's
too.
going to walk, and I don't blame him at all. I don't even get me started.
Pat Shurmur's been bad everywhere he's went. Now he's bad in Denver.
Special teams coach is horrific.
I think the Dolphins keep rolling. I am for 10.
The Dolphins are 14.
Oh, a little reverse psychology as I can sense in your voice.
No. I'm picking to get some 14 points every freaking week. Next.
New York Football Jets at the Los Angeles, I almost said Clippers, Chargers.
I got the Clippers, the Chargers for 11.
I have the Chargers for 12. Green Bay.
Green beans.
It's almost Thanksgiving.
It's almost time, too.
At Indianapolis.
I got the Colts for 4.
I have the Packers for 2.
It's going to be a good game.
Dallas at Minnesota.
Got the Vikings for 12.
I have the Vikings for 13. Kansas City at Oakland.
At Vegas. Vegas beat them the first time,
Oakland.
and I forgot.
What is wrong with me?
I forgot they beat them, and I put Kansas City for 9.
This will be the J-Man's Book of Prediction of the Week, only because I haven't done a Book of Prediction of the Week yet. Kansas City Chiefs, and I have 5 points on them. Oakland's a good ball club, though. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watching is sponsoring the J-Man's Book of Prediction of the Week. Life, home, auto, renters, business, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. Emails travis.watching@infb.com.
Radio stations need to hire you to be the disclosure language because you're not even sped up. That was just real time. Rams at Buccaneers for Monday Night Football.
Tampa Bay looked awesome, followed up their horrendous game against New Orleans with a shellacking of the Carolina Panthers. Give me the Bucs for 9.
I got the Bucs for 3.
Buys this week are the Buffalo Bills, Chicago Bears, New York Football Giants, San Francisco 49ers.
Yes, sir.
Birdie Bogey time. Oh, first, before we get to Birdie Bogey, the Miami Marlins hired the first female general manager. That was really
Miami
really
likes
cool.
to do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
really cool. She's qualified. I think she's going to do a great job there. Good. Kudos to Derek Jeter for hiring her. Muhammad Ibrahim is the first Big Ten player with 140 rush yards in 5 straight games since who?
140 rush yards in 5 straight games. I think it's a little off the cuff here. Very nervous about this now the more I think about it. I'm going with another former Golden Gopher, Lawrence Maroney.
No. Good guess. Mike Hart, Michigan.
Didn't even come to my mind. Yep, I thought Maroney for sure. Darn it.
Ibrahim is the first Big Ten player with at least 700 rushing yards in his team's first 4 games of a season since Wisconsin's Michael Bennett in 2000.
Oh, wow. I also thought maybe Maurice Claret, but...
I thought when you said kind of off the cuff, because no one remembers Mike Hart, even though he's a stud at Michigan.
Yeah, he's a running back coach at Indiana right now.
Yeah.
Been the running back coach for a couple years.
That was going to be my clue, but I would have given it away.
Yeah, I would have knew that. But darn it, I thought Lawrence Maroney, because he had some kind of record lately in the Big Ten. Darn it. Oh, well.
I want to look up Maroney's stats real quick. How much time we got left there, T-Money?
A little under 2 minutes.
Maroney. It's not how you spell his name.
I think his first name is Lawrence.
Yeah, it is Lawrence.
He was a Patriot
Lawrence
for a while.
Yeah, that was a good guess. He had 3,900 career rushing yards at Minnesota. He had 32 touchdowns in 3 years.
Maybe that's what made it. Oh, darn it. Oh, well. Glenn Mason led Minnesota Golden Gophers team. That's going to do it for episode 209 of the Tan and J-Man Show. Thanks for watching on the ISE Sports Network. Thanks for listening wherever you're listening on your favorite podcast app. Please hit that subscribe button. Hit the rate and review. Give us a 5-star rating. That helps us out a lot. Order some merchandise, some Tan and J-Man Show swag. Go to our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram. You can find a link right there. 20% off most items through the month of November using the promo code FOUR, all caps. And I want to thank all of our sponsors. The Dam Landing, Noble Gnome LLC, Performer Print House in Indiana, Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watching. And we'll be back next Monday for our college basketball preview edition. Can't believe it's here. Fingers crossed that season goes smoothly. We'll talk about more next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay sane, everybody.